This is not war. It's extinction.
So who are you rooting for this weekend? I know who I am. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Peep This Out, it's your boy Ian K here with some quick thoughts and a review on the very latest from Paramount Pictures and Michael Bay. Obviously, you guys know what I'm talking about. You see it running behind me right now. Transformers Age of Extinction is officially here. The fourth movie in the Transformers franchise that effectively reboots the entire human cast while keeping the familiarity of the Autobots and Decepticons for the most part intact. And let me just tell you guys, definitely a thrill ride for special effects. Very, very awesome in terms of how they're rebooting the franchise while continuing what actually happened previously. Now for me, I personally love the last film out of the last three. Dark of the Moon I thought was definitely the better of the three. It was the strongest. We had a lot of the established characters. We all knew what was going on. And it was a very cool twist on man's first lunar landing way back in the day. Very, very cool imagery. Obviously special effects are insane for all these movies. That movie was the pinnacle of it, especially the last sequence in Chicago. The longest part of the movie by far, and just a mind-numbing action sequence from beginning to end, in 3D of course. And it was absolutely a great way to cap off that trilogy. So obviously everyone wanted to know what was going to be coming next. We all know another Transformers movie would eventually be coming down the line. These movies are cash cows for Hollywood studios. Clearly Paramount Pictures is making a bucket load of cash off this movie worldwide. So now that the fourth one is here, we have a complete reboot of the human cast completely. I mean, it is really a different feeling movie. The tone is different on this one. It picks up with Mark Wahlberg taking over the reins from Shia LaBeouf, and let me just tell you, very happy about that. Mark Wahlberg is pretty decent in this movie. Definitely adds the action element, just as The Rock did for actually Fast and the Furious. You're going to see something very similar with Mark Wahlberg here, and hopefully he'll continue on with the next two planned films in this new trilogy. Now, you know your boy Ian K has got your back, and I'm definitely not going to spoil the film for you there, but if you've seen any of the previews, like the one running behind me right now, any of them whatsoever, you already have a gist on what's happening in this story here. We've got Mark Wahlberg's character, Cade Yeager, a down-on-his-luck robotics inventor who's doing whatever he possibly can to scrape some money together to get his daughter into college, happens upon a very familiar-looking truck that he sees that he thinks is absolutely pure junk. Anyone who's a fan of the Transformers in general, especially the first generation from way back in the day when those toys came out, will recognize exactly who that is. And obviously from the preview, you already know that it's Optimus Prime in his classic form. And let me just tell you, that was an absolutely killer throwback to see that. Very, very cool. The Autobots are on the run ever since the events of Chicago from the last film. So when the shadowy covert government group shows up looking for Optimus Prime, they obviously get more than they bargained for, and obviously so does Optimus Prime and the rest of the Autobots there. From that point on, we are definitely off and running. Let me just tell you guys, it really is a roller coaster of a ride. It really pushes the mythology of the Transformers in a different direction by the end of the film, you'll understand, in terms of how they leave it open. And it definitely has some of the most mind-numbing action pieces ever. Let me just tell you guys, very, very awesome in terms of the action. These movies continually push the bar every time a new release comes out. Definitely loving what they're doing with them there. In terms of characters and character development, we're introduced to Decepticon Killer Lockdown in addition to some of the newer Autobots, and of course fan favorite Bumblebee, who again, let me just say, look absolutely amazing in 3D. And of course my personal favorite, the Dinobots, finally in the film franchise. And let me tell you guys, when they finally show up, they do rip it up pretty nicely. I don't think they're personally in it enough. I think they could have had a little bit more screen time compared to everybody else, but what you do see definitely rocks. It was easily worth the price of admission for that. Very, very awesome to see Grimlock and the gang get down with it. It was a very cool inclusion into the story and a very nice origin piece in terms of showing how they came about there, obviously 65 million plus years ago. Their updated designs looked absolutely killer, especially Grimlock. He's in all the advertising, all the promotion that you see there. He definitely is the toughest looking T-Rex style Transformer I think ever. The way that it's designed, very hardcore, very tough looking. If you've never seen the classic version of the Dinobots, do a quick search on Google there. You'll be surprised on what those characters look like, much less in toy form. But the movie version, rock solid, baby. Out of control. Absolutely love seeing them in action. It was definitely worth it just for that. Now guys, as you already know from the previous films as well as the promotion from this one, the shadowy covert government group theme is definitely prevalent in this film as well. You definitely see a lot of human characters kind of conspiring with something or someone in terms of trying to push their agenda along, and obviously the Autobots are caught in the crossfire trying to do what they need to do while they're trying to figure out how they're going to actually still continue to save the world, you know, even though they're a little bit at odds of what's happening to them, because they're being hunted by humans, which is kind of crazy in this film. Kelsey Grammer does an amazing job. Personally for me, I really enjoyed watching him in action. He is definitely a mean guy in this film. Just his presence on screen is pretty good, as well as Stanley Tucci, who actually plays one of the billionaire CEOs of a tech company who's looking to harness something that the Transformers have, or what they're made of, I should say. It definitely works because of the storyline for what it is. Did I personally like the film overall with the inclusion of those characters and the reboot status of the human characters as well? Let me just say your boy Ian K liked it a lot. I liked it a lot. I thought it definitely had a lot of good points to it there. The action, of course, like I said, mind-numbingly good. Again, amazing in 3D. And of course, the set pieces, the explosions, the stunts, it's definitely on point. This is a Michael Bay production after all, so you know there is going to be a lot of quick edits, a lot of quick cuts, and a ton of lens flares. That is a trademark of Michael Bay. You're going to see that every time cars are moving around, where there's something in the distance, the sun's coming off into the distance there, you're going to see reflections, you're going to see stuff even inside barns and houses. But of course, it is a signature of his, so it's definitely prevalent throughout the movie. But for me, the only slight issue that I had with it was that the tone was just a little off in certain sequences there, where some characters who were one way automatically are trying to be comedians the next. It was very, very off-putting and kind of threw me out of the story just a little bit there in terms of just the intensity of it. There's a lot of rivalry between Mark Wahlberg's character and his daughter's boyfriend in the movie in terms of who's going to protect the daughter more. There's a lot of that doting going on back and forth. After a while, it was just a little much throughout the film. Ultimately, the movie does work. I mean, it really is a summer blockbuster film. It's entertaining. If anything, it'll get you into the theater just to check out the Transformers again. That's the main thing. It's definitely the beginning of a new trilogy for the Transformers. I'm not going to spoil what happens at the very end of the movie, but definitely don't wait for the credits to finish because there's nothing there. That was my only gripe with it as well. At the end of the film, they should have had a little something that's in there. But by the end of the film, we're off in a different direction. It definitely feels like they're really precursoring into something that's going to be pretty grand when you see what happens there. So we'll have to wait a few years from that. But very, very awesome. I definitely enjoyed the film. It is easily worth the time because of the entertainment value that it packs in. Just kind of let your expectations go a little bit for what it is, but it definitely is a very, very solid film overall, and I think you're going to enjoy it. So just how bomb sexy for your 3D eyeballs on a scale of 1 to 10 is the new Transformers Age of Extinction? Guys, in my humble opinion, this one is a solid 8 out of 10. It's definitely got some high entertainment value. You'll definitely get your money's worth, especially in 3D. It is very, very awesome with the lens flares, the smoke, the explosions. I mean, these movies are made for 3D, and that definitely is the way you want to watch it. It's got just enough of progression of story to really push the mythology forward and really leaves it open at the very end. Just kind of leave your expectation at the door in terms of comedy. You're going to see some things, obviously it's going to be a little off tone in my personal opinion in terms of how it came off, but overall the story is pretty decent. It's got a little bit of emotional weight to it as well, and again, Lockdown is badass. That's all I have to say. It was awesome to see him in action along with Grimlock and the gang from the Dinobots. It was worth it just for that for me. The scenes in China, especially the third act at the very end, is absolutely a stunner. I don't think it's quite up there with the Chicago battle from Dark of the Moon, but it is very, very close in terms of what goes on, and by the end of the film, like I said, ready for the next movie. Let's see what's going to go on with it. It is definitely going to be different. Definitely run on out and check out Transformers Age of Extinction. Alright gang, I need to know if this movie was more than meets the eye for you, so do me a favor, drop some comments down below. Let me know what you thought of Transformers Age of Extinction. How did you like it compared to the other three? Do you like the direction that the series is going right now? Do you still want to see Michael Bay direct the next movie? There's actually no confirmation that's even happening just yet, but let me know what you thought of the film. I'm curious to know what you think of the franchise. And of course guys, if you can give this video a big thumbs up, aside from liking, sharing, and subscribing to Peep This Out if you haven't already, definitely share the channel with a few peeps that you know haven't take a look at the content. A little bit something there for everyone. I like to keep the variety in there and have a good time. I've also got all the social media goodness at the very end of this video, so definitely make use of that. I love keeping in touch with you guys. I try and answer each and every comment whenever possible, so make use of that good stuff there, and I'll definitely keep it interactive with you. And you know me guys, it's your boy Ian K wearing his 3D glasses at night, breaking you off a little something something on Transformers Age of Extinction. You know how we do it guys. We'll talk to you next time. Stay frosty.
Transformers.